Good evening, everybody. This is Kayla with National Training. I'm one of the admissions advisors here. Thank you guys for joining us tonight for our Tuesday evening webinar. We do have a very special guest with us, Mr. Frank Bradley with Covenant Transport. We're going to get with him in just a minute and let him tell you guys all about his great company that he has. In the meantime, while we have a few more people logging in, we're going to go through some of the housekeeping here for the webinar tonight. You might be joining us via your computer, desktop computer, laptop, an iPad, smart tablet, smartphone. You're going to see some of these icons. The number one icon is a red or orange colored microphone. Everybody right now is in the listen only mode, but I can turn on those mics here in just a little bit for you guys to be able to ask some questions. Number two is going to be your hand icon. If I'm going too fast, or if you want me to talk a little longer, or for Frank to talk a little longer on a specific topic that we're on, go ahead and raise your hand. But in the meantime, if everybody will go ahead and hit that hand icon so I can make sure that you can hear me okay. Thank you, Montez. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, the other Michael. A couple Michaels on here tonight. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put all those hands down with a quick push of a button. Number three is going to be your question icon. If you do have a question, we're in the middle of talking, or if you don't have access to a microphone, you can type those questions into the question box and I'll be happy to answer them for you. So just a little bit about who we are here at National Training. We were incorporated in 1978 as a proprietary post-secondary vocational education institution. We're committed to providing a strong curricula with programs that emphasize practical, usable skills blended with a relevant general education foundation. We do have a caring environment with personal attention and close faculty-student interaction and our open door admission policy. We are Florida's oldest private truck driving school with a state-of-the-art training facility. We have a 1.25 mile multi-lane highway that ensures safer, more efficient training, and we've graduated over 40,000 students since 1978. You might ask yourself this question: why drive a truck for a living? The most common and practical answer to that is job security. So speaking of job security, I'm going to invite Mr. Frank on here to go ahead and tell us a little bit about his company, Covenant Transportation. Thanks for joining us tonight, Frank.
Hey, thank you, Kayla.
Glad to have you here as always. We love having you on.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Covenant Transportation as a company.
Yeah, so Covenant was founded in '86 by David and Jacqueline Parker. We do specialize in team driving, but we also have a lot of opportunities for solo, dedicated, and regional. We are a faith-based company. That's Jacqueline and David there that you saw in the picture on the screen. Faith-based company, and we do specialize in students. So for some of the guys that are on the call tonight and some of the ones that have inquired to come to your school, there is only let's say a few. There's certain companies that will take you straight from CDL school with no experience and give you the training to hopefully build a successful career at the company they choose to go to, and we're one of those. As you know, Kayla, I've been coming into your school for probably 7 or 8 years now, generally once a month, and do a presentation to your students to let them know what we can offer them once they get a CDL from your school.
Yeah, absolutely. We love having you in here every month. Look forward to your every 4-week visit that we do get to have a chat with you and listen to all the great opportunities that you guys have for our students. So speaking of opportunities, let's talk about some of those driving opportunities that would be available to the students that graduate from a school like ours. Yeah,
so we have various opportunities. Like I say, we're mainly a team-operated company, but we have diversified, and we have now a lot of different opportunities for dedicated, refrigerated. We also have some regional. We have in certain areas some local opportunities, but they're kind of a little few and far between. But it's mainly the team over the road, dedicated, and regional.
Absolutely. So what kind of freight do you guys mostly haul? I know it's probably a pretty vast variety.
Yeah, it is. Now, personally, with Covenant, we don't have tankers and we don't have flatbeds. So we're mainly dry van and refrigerated trailers. So pretty much everything that you can envisage on the shelf in a Walmart, a Target, a Publix, or a major superstore. Pretty much everything comes in on a truck like ours. So yeah, various different companies we haul for.
Fantastic. So once a student graduates a school and gets their CDL, what would be the next step with Covenant?
So while they're in the school with yourself, and I know you've sat in many of my presentations, we do encourage them to send in an application to Covenant and get that job offer on the table should they wish to, take up the offer we can provide for them. If they do so, you'll see step 1 there with the student program. It's 145 hours out there with a trainer with Covenant. Now, they can count on that being about 3 weeks out on the road. Some can get in a little less depending on their own abilities. While they're on that training program, we pay them a salary of $700 a week without the hazmat and $725 with the hazmat. Now, if they do come in without the hazmat, we will actually help them to get the hazmat endorsement, and we'll also pay for that for them.
Fantastic. Now, after they go through their training, I know you guys are primarily a team driver. Would that be their next step, would be to be on a team?
Yes, it would, yeah. So with Covenant, we do require our drivers, once they finish with their trainer, to team up with a co-driver for the next 90 days. I know it says 60 days there, but that's just the pay scale for the first 60 of the 90. So we do require them to team up for 90 days. Now, the reason we do that, we find it puts out a much more skilled and much more safer driver should they get to that 90-day period and decide that maybe teaming is not for them, and then they can take the solo opportunities we can offer them.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so while they do the 90 days teaming, and we'll just go through a little bit of the pay, seeing as you have that on the page at the moment. For the first 60 days of that 90 days, and if you bear in mind that if they do come in without the hazmat, we will assist them to get it during that training program. They're going to start out at 65 cents per mile, and that's paid on split miles on the truck. So just to give them an example, if they, between themselves and their co-driver, do 4,000 miles that week, we're going to pay them 2,000 miles at 65 cents a mile, which works out at $1,300 each. Now, after they finish once they get through the 60 days, then it goes to 72 cents per mile. If they continue teaming, after 6 months, it goes to 76 cents per mile. And after a year, it goes up to 80 cents per mile. Now, once they finish the 90 days teaming, they do have the option to go solo. And I know people think that Covenant is only a teaming company, but actually 30% of our trucks are solo trucks. Now, as I said, they're mainly over the road, but we do have dedicated and regional accounts as and when they come around in their area.
Fantastic. So a little bit of something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see you guys have some pretty cool extra pay opportunities and some little perks and benefits. But one thing I want to ask, tuition reimbursement. Can you explain a little bit to the folks online tonight what that might entail?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we realize that truck driving school, while it's a great investment into your career, is not obviously one of the cheapest things to invest into. So with Covenant, what we do is we pay all of our students a $250 per month tuition reimbursement. They get the first payment after 30 days of being at Covenant, and that continues every month up until we've paid them back to the price of the truck driving school, up to a total of $10,000.
That's wonderful. So it's going to more than cover what they paid for school. So that's a great option.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Now let's talk about, I know a lot of people want to know about like benefits, 401k, healthcare, things of that nature. Is that
Yeah,
something
so
right
yeah,
now?
absolutely. Yeah, so with our benefits, we offer medical, dental, and vision, and the medical is done through Cigna. It's available for our drivers to take out after 60 days with Covenant if they choose to take ours out. Now, with the benefits, again, there's 3 levels of cover. They can have it for themselves only, themselves and spouse, and themselves and family. Now, also with the 401k, we do have a match option. Now, the 401k is available to them after 6 months with the company, and the match is Covenant will match 50% of the first 5% of their paycheck that they opt to put into the 401k. So, yeah, a couple of good programs there.
Absolutely. Another big thing that we get a lot of questions about is going to be things like military, people who were in the military. Is there any
Yeah,
for those veterans that are coming to work for Covenant?
Yeah, we have a very good military program at Covenant. We do offer the 1 and the 2 year. If they're using their GI Bill or their post 9/11 bill, we do offer the 1 and the 2 year program. And so basically how that works is if they're using that post 9/11 bill, we'll help them set up you'll see at the bottom there, right where you're now, we'll help them set up that housing stipend they get from the VA while they're doing that first year OJT. And so again, it's going to be around about $1,200 per month that they get on top of the actual pay that they get from us. That's not, we don't pay them less because they're receiving that from the VA. They earn that for serving the military. Now, also what we do that you'll see at the bottom, the military credit. So if they were one of those, you see there the veteran with primarily specialities like an 88 mic, so basically a transportation based, we will credit them with 100% of their time served. If they weren't transportation based, we'll credit them with 50% of their time served. And what that actually means in real terms is, so once they finish on the 700 and 725 salary, once they start their 90 days teaming, rather than going through the 65 cents, 72 cents, 76, and then to 80, those guys, as long as they've served at least 2 years in the military, which most have, they go straight to the 80 cents per mile.
Wow, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the equipment that you guys have, your trucks.
Yeah, so yeah, the majority you're going to see on that picture there are our Freightliner Cascadias. The average age of our fleet right now is about 22 months old.
Wow.
So it is one of the youngest fleets in the industry. So if anyone does decide to come to Covenant, they are going to be driving some great new modern equipment. Now, also, the majority of our fleet is automatic now.
Okay.
Now, I know you get questions, and I know you offer training on a manual and an automatic, and some people are concerned about testing out on an automatic or training on an automatic in truck driving school. Well, a couple of years ago, that could have been an issue. There wasn't as many fleets and companies out there that would be able to take them with that restriction. Well, that's turned completely on its head over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
The majority of companies like us and like all of your other companies that come in to speak to your students, we've made that transition over to automatics. So hopefully that can rest assured with your students that are coming in, they're no longer forced to have to try and persevere to take the test in a manual. It doesn't really affect them now if they take their test in a automatic.
Wonderful. Yeah, that was a big concern for a lot of people. So as far as these trucks, the drivers, what kind of comforts of home are provided in these trucks for folks who are, sleeping and essentially living in these tractor trailers?
Yeah, so the most of them are the same size as the ones that they train in. Now, obviously, they don't get to see a good vision of what a truck actually looks like, because obviously in a training truck, you have to take the beds out because you have to install seats and seat belts to, have your students go out on the road in them. So all of ours are what they call condos. They've got 2 bunks, a top and a bottom bunk. The majority of them have the inverters in them. And with Covenant, we don't do what they call slip seating. So basically what that means is when we give that team or that solo driver a truck, it's their truck until they decide to do something different, or until we decide to give them a brand new one. So they can equip them with exactly what they want. Just to give the guys an example, again, I've been with Covenant for 15 years. I drove for the first 7 years and I was a trainer for 5. I equipped my truck fairly well. I put the refrigerator, the microwave, the TV, DVD on it. As you say, you're living on it. You want to be able to live comfortably. We teach them how to, like when I was a trainer, I'd show them. We'd stop at Walmart once or twice a week and pick up our groceries, and we'd live on the truck, much like, I guess, if you was RVing, you can't afford to go out and spend all of your hard-earned dollars on eating in truck stops and eating in restaurants every night. For one, probably not the healthiest thing, but certainly not the cheapest. So yeah, they can equip them exactly how they need to.
Fantastic. So they can kind of make it to what it is that meets their specific needs. So that's great.
Yes, indeed.
Wonderful. Well, what other points do you think we need to cover in regards to Covenant before we open up the phones to some questions?
Well, one of the major things that we normally talk about on here, now people won't think a lot of this because we're coming into May and we live in Florida and we enjoy the sunshine, but one of our major things is safety. With Covenant, safety, I mean, our driver's the #1 concern, so with the different weather conditions that we have throughout the country, and I don't know what kind of social media or news things that you watch, Kayla, but I did actually see up in Nebraska, they had a snowstorm out there today. So while we're enjoying the sunshine of Florida, unfortunately, in different parts of the country, we still get those weather conditions. So with Covenant, we have a full-time meteorologist, Jonathan Hunter, and in the winter time, so once it comes to almost like the fall and wet through to the spring, we actually get 3 or 4 part-time meteorologists to assist Jonathan. So we keep a track on where those weather conditions are coming through. And if we find that there's one coming through, we'll get through to that driver that's heading through that particular area and either route him around where that weather condition's coming through. Unfortunately, some of these weather conditions come up pretty quickly. If it does, and it's one of those blizzards or snowstorms, we'll make sure that our driver pulls over to a safe and convenient location and make sure he parks up so he's not going to endanger himself in those different conditions.
Fantastic. That was actually a question that I did get in the chat here already, was about if it was to be like a snowstorm or things like that, do they have to chain the tires on the trucks?
No, we don't chain. Yeah, we don't chain our tires. Now, obviously, as you know as well, there's certain states that you go through from, it could be as early as May through till February, that they do require you to carry chains on the vehicle if you're going to enter those states and make deliveries. But with Covenant, we don't allow our drivers to put the chains on the tires. It's just a DOT regulation that you have to have them on there should something occur. We will make our drivers pull over and wait for that weather condition to go through. We'll get in touch with our customers and explain to them, we don't want to risk losing your product and your load, and we'll just reschedule that appointment.
Fantastic. That's a huge plus in my book, because I don't like driving in the snow, so I know a lot of
Yeah,
people don't. So that's a great option.
yeah.
That's a great perk that you guys have there. All right, so at this point, I do want to kind of open up the phone lines to any questions that anybody might have for Frank in regards to Covenant Transportation.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Montez, if you would like, you can go ahead and click on your microphone and ask a question. Montez Presha, if you want to ask any questions, you can go ahead and click on your microphone. All right, how about Michael Bell? You have any questions for us this evening? Go ahead and click on your microphone. Okay,
I know some of them might be a little bit more remote where they're calling in from. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, you know, they know they can type the question in and you can ask it for them if they want to do that.
Yeah. Yep, he said he was trying, but hold on, let me see if it'll let me unmute you here. All right, Michael, go ahead. Michael Bell, go ahead and ask your question. You should be able to. I can.
Okay, awesome. So first and foremost, Frank, thank you so much for that information on Covenant. Really good stuff there. I did have just one question. What states do you guys operate in right now currently?
Right, so we actually deliver to all 48 contiguous states. We also deliver into Canada. So if you do wish to take freight into Canada, you can do so. If you don't have the passport or you just don't wish to do the border crossing, we actually have a couple of drop yards, one in Tonawanda, New York, which is near Buffalo, and one in Detroit, Michigan. And we take off, we have some drivers in Canada that will come across the border, take the freight into Canada, get it unloaded at the customer, go to another customer, pick up a load, and drop it back on the US side. So at that point, our drivers just drop a load in that drop yard and immediately pick up another one that's going to the continental 48. Now, on the back of that, we are 75% drop and hook, and we're also, excuse me, we're also 99% no-touch freight. Now, there is a caveat. We do have some dedicated accounts where those drivers have to unload that product, but that's not something you just get put onto. That's something you maybe request because it might keep you in a certain area on like a dedicated or a regional account. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, sir.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know about the Tonawanda. My mom was born in Tonawanda. So.
Oh, really?
Too funny. All right, Michael Myers, did you have any questions for us this evening? Go ahead and click on your microphone. Michael Myers is actually a student of ours currently.
Oh, okay.
Michael, you can go ahead and click on your microphone and ask a question. I did get a question in the chat, Frank. Do you guys have a pet policy?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So as you probably know as well as I, a lot of companies are going away from their pet policies because there has been quite a few recent incidents and accidents due to the distraction factor. But with Covenant, we're keeping ours. And with the pet policy, it's a $10 per week payment up until they've paid in $750. Now, part of that money goes to the added insurance policy because of the distraction factor, but also when we take that truck off the driver to give them a brand new one, we may not be trading it out to the company. We may be giving it to another driver coming into the company. So we're probably going to have to detail that quite a bit more than a regular truck because obviously some people have pet allergies. But yes, we have the pet policy.
Fantastic. All right, Michael Myers said his microphone wasn't working. Let's see if we can get him here. Michael, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, I sure can.
All right, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead and ask your question.
I was wondering, do you guys offer anything for owner operators that already have their own tractor?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So as far as that goes, now I'm actually over the student recruiting. Now I'll break this down into two parts. So 100% yes, we do. if you were to come into Covenant and come and work as a company driver, we offer a lease or owner operator program that you can lease a truck after you got 1 year's experience, and that's because it's the insurance company defining that you have to have a year's experience. So as far as coming straight into the company from truck driving school with no experience, I honestly don't know if we do take that on board at that time, or whether you would need to have that year's experience. And obviously on the website here, you have our contact details. That would be something you'd more be looking to speak to an experienced recruiter. Again, I'm a student recruiter that actually just visits the schools to hire students. So unfortunately, I can't give you a definitive on that, but on the back of it, yes, we do. I just don't have the exact details that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Great
welcome, sir.
Great question as well. Some good questions tonight. I do have another question in the chat on background information, more specifically as far as any felonies or anything. Is there anything that would prevent them, or do you guys kind of take it as like a case-by-case scenario?
Yeah, we do it as a case by case. So as far as the criminal history goes, we're not one of those companies that it's 5 years for a misdemeanor, 10 years for a felony. Again, we do it as a case by case basis. So whatever they have in their background, if they enter that into their application and give us as much information as possible, because we always know there's some kind of extenuating circumstances. Whatever someone was convicted of is not always the same thing that took place to get that relevant conviction, you know? So the more information that we have, the easier it is to make our decision. But also what I will add on it, with Covenant, we actually go from date of offence, not conviction. So quite often that pushes it out quite a bit further, because generally, if you get caught for an offence on a Monday, you don't go to court and get convicted on a Tuesday. There's always that time frame in between.
Absolutely.
So it always pushes it out that little bit further. And as far as, and we do exactly the same on our driving records. So if anyone's got any speeding tickets or red light tickets or whatever they may be, again, we go from date of offence, not conviction.
Perfect. Great opportunity there. Now, Frank, I'd like to ask you before I do so, but I was going to put your email address in the chat here for everybody, just in case they had some questions, if that's okay with you. Always like
Absolutely.
to ask.
Yeah, no problem.
Send that to everybody here in the chat, so make sure you check that. If you guys have any further questions for Frank tonight, we got some great questions. I really appreciate the participation there. But if you guys think of something else that you might have a specific question in regards to Covenant, you can always shoot Frank an email. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to get back with you. But if you don't have anything else to add tonight, Frank, I do appreciate you joining us as always.
No problem, Kayla. Thank you very much, and thank you very much to your participants, and look forward to doing the next one.
Yes, sir. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Will do. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. So we're going to keep this party rolling here for just a little bit longer. Thank you guys so much for the great questions. I love the participation there. So just a little bit more about our school here as we keep going on through this PowerPoint presentation. A little bit more about our school as a whole. We have thousands of drivers that have had their very first truck driving experience in our trucks. Maybe it's even their first time ever being up closer inside of a tractor trailer. We have cab over engines with sleepers, conventional condos, sleeper cabs, and day cabs. I know Frank was kind of describing a little bit to you what the inside of these cabs look like, and some of you might know already, but most of these sleeper cabs are going to have your bunk, whether it be a single or a double. This one particularly happens to be a single, where the bottom bunk does turn into a table. Also, if you can see here, the seat that's your co-pilot seat can swivel around, so you have a little more room to sit, as well as a little more room to spread out a little while. Got some storage. Most of them are going to come with that inverter and have comfortable seats. They want to make sure that you're comfortable while you're sitting in that truck for an extensive period of time. This one happens to be a manual transmission. That's what we train in here. Some of them might have a table that comes out like this, your TV, microwave, maybe a mini fridge, all the comforts of home that you can make yourself as comfortable as possible while you're out there on the road. So some different driving jobs. You can haul freight of all kinds. A lot of companies have dedicated or regional routes where you remain primarily in a specified area of the country. Most of them are going to offer weekly home time, great pay, steady runs, and company benefits. So a little bit of the driver pay scale. This is, as you can see, from a few years ago, but we have to go with what the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics wants to publish. So, the average annual salary starting out was about $46,250. Now, I will say that's on the lower end of the scale. It is absolutely exploding in this industry, so the pay is going up constantly. As you heard, Frank, they start you out at 65 cents a mile, so that's a great starting point. National training for some school qualifications. We will review your driving record, your criminal background, your physical abilities. We do administer a drug screen on the first day of class, and most important, we want to know your intensity to succeed. We ensure that you can benefit from this training program before you start. And by doing so, we're making sure that you are employable. We do have a 4-week residence hands-on training. Just some pictures of instructors and students throughout the years. And our campus, we are so proud of this place. It is an amazing facility with this wonderful 1.25 mile private 2-lane highway that you're going to learn how to drive a tractor trailer on before you leave the property. Want to make sure you're safe, because safety is that #1 important detail. We also have a state-of-the-art simulator. We utilize this for a lot of backing maneuvers, as well as that free road drive or structured road drive, just to get you comfortable and help you iron out any little flaws that might come into play. We also have a career services department. It's actually one of the departments that I handle. We have a placement process that we've been perfecting our graduate to work program for over 43 years, and it really does work. The career services department starts working with students on the very first day of training school. As you see, we have companies that come in, like Frank with Covenant. He comes to every single class. We use one-on-one private counseling sessions as well to direct our students to companies that would be a good match for both the company and the student. Not every company is for every driver. Every company offers something different. I have done a lot of extensive research in making sure that I know what these companies offer for you so that we can get you matched up with the perfect company for you. We also have a job board, truckschool.com/jobs, where you can go on and even see companies that have posted truck driving jobs throughout the country. I have a team of members here that help me with this, and we update it constantly. So there's always new things throughout the U.S., not just here in Florida. We do get a lot of people from out of town or even out of state. You might ask, where do you stay? Really, in all reality, you can stay wherever you want, but if you're looking for the best deal, we definitely suggest the Green Cove Springs Inn. It's located about 7 miles from the training grounds. Every room comes with a microwave, a refrigerator, cable with HBO, and free Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is really fast too, so if you want to bring your laptop or your gaming console, definitely is able to tolerate that. We do have special rates for our training students. A double occupancy room is $902 for the full 4 weeks, so it breaks down to about $34 a night. Or if you're looking for a private room, it's about $387 more at $1289 for the 4 weeks. Cost, fees, and financing. The one thing that most people that's the biggest question we get. The tuition for the school is $7,495. We do offer multiple types of financing, whether it be outside financing from banks and credit unions, workforce, vocational rehab, Veterans Affairs, the TAA, income share agreements. More specifically, we deal with MIA share or in-house financing. And as Frank described earlier, most of the companies, more specifically the ones where you're going over the road or regional, are going to do that tuition reimbursement. After all, we've been doing this for a very long time. As I said, we've been in business since 1978, so going on 44 years. And it's all good. We have it all. We have the companies and the jobs. We have the industry recognition. We have impeccable governmental relations. We have guaranteed tuition financing for everyone. We have over 40,000 graduates that came possibly before you. We have a program that is really fun to complete. And we have an awesome training facility. We also have awesome staff here as well. Great instructors. We appreciate the students from the Department of Veterans Affairs programs, the Department of Vocational Rehab, state vocational rehab programs, state workforce programs, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. National training is where the trucking companies come for new drivers. As we heard, Frank comes to every class. We have TMC. They were actually here today in person. Windy Hill Foliage is another one that comes to all of our classes. And that's just a few just to scratch the surface. We do have relationships with about 150 different companies. So once again, I'd like to open up the phone lines to any questions that you might have. You can either pop them in the chat. You can raise your hand if you have a question. Be happy to call on you. Anybody have any questions in regards to the school or the industry in general? Be happy to answer them for you. Give you guys a chance to raise your hand or ask some questions in the chat if you'd like. So while you're doing that, I'll go through a few special announcements here. We do have another truck webinar coming up on Tuesday, May 24th. So 3 weeks from tonight at 6:30. Our guest that evening will be John Hine with TMC Transportation, flatbed company. We also have an open house this Saturday. It's going to take place from 9 to 12 right here at our training facility in Green Cove Springs. All right, I see Kenya, you have a question. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you here. So let's see. It says that you're self-muted. So if you want to go ahead and click on that microphone, be happy to answer your question for you. Kenya, if you want to click your microphone, I'll be happy to answer your question. Or you can type it in the chat if your microphone isn't working. Go ahead and try it one more time, Kenya. If you have your question, you can go. It doesn't look like you have access to the microphone. Go ahead and type it into the chat. I'll be happy to answer it for you. Michael Bell, I see you have a question. Let's see. Go ahead and ask your question.
I'm sorry, but I was looking at this open house that's coming up Saturday. I won't be able to make that one, but do you guys have another one coming up? I was trying to see the schedule if there's another one, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah, our next one's going to be July the 9th.
July the 9th. Okay. I'll write that.
Another month. But if you are wanting to come and take a tour of the facility, I mean, absolutely give us a shout. I'll be happy to help you out with that.
Got it. Thank you so much.
So welcome. Yeah, it's a fun event. If you do want to come to the open house, we usually always have a company coming in. I think this week I've got Windy Hill Foliage. She's going to come in and talk with us this Saturday. We get you up in a truck, give you a ride, even show you our heavy equipment training as well, because we do that here as well. So it's a great family-friendly event. You know, come on out and spend the morning with us and be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for attending our webinar this evening. I really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Make sure that you contact your admissions representative or our office tomorrow. First thing, our office number is 1-800-488-73. Or you can call our local number at 904-272-4000. Ask for the admissions office or ask to speak with your representative if you haven't spoken to anybody before. Just remember, your lost time is costing you big money. It's all good. Just make sure you give us a call. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. Please be, in order to sign off, you just can go to File, Exit, Leave Webinar. File, Exit, Leave Webinar. Thank you
Thank you,
guys so much for coming in tonight. Thank you. Again, to leave this evening, you go to File, Exit, Leave Webinar.